Welcome to this explainer. Generative AI is, without a doubt, completely rewiring how we do business. But look, with that immense power comes a massive responsibility. Let's explore how the latest insights suggest we can build a truly ironclad defense around enterprise AI deployments on both Microsoft Azure and AWS. Let's get right into it. So let me ask you straight up, is your enterprise AI actually secure? Seriously, this is no longer just a theoretical whiteboard question. We're dealing with high-stakes environments now where a single vulnerability can compromise your most sensitive business data. The infrastructure you rely on every day is facing threats that literally did not exist just a few short years ago. Okay, let's dive into this. The reality is, generative AI opens up a whole new class of, frankly, dangerous attack surfaces. We aren't just worrying about your standard network breaches anymore. We're looking at things like prompt injections, which is basically tricking the AI into spilling its secrets. We're facing severe risks of sensitive data leakage, the theft of critical API keys, and unauthorized access directly into your AI models. These are complex vectors, and they require a completely new defensive mindset.
All right, moving to Section 1, the Zero Trust Philosophy. This is your defensive shield.
The absolute bedrock of everything we're exploring today is zero trust. It's built on a simple but highly unforgiving principle. Never trust, always verify. This isn't about typing in a password once and getting a VIP pass to roam the network. No way. This is a relentless, continuous process. Every single user, device, application, API, and crucially, every AI model must continuously prove its identity and authorization before access is ever granted. Now, you might be wondering, why does this matter so much for AI specifically? Well, because with AI, we aren't just putting a padlock on a database. We're protecting an intelligent, active engine from being manipulated. Zero trust is essential here to mitigate insider threats and prevent outright AI model abuse. It stops advanced API attacks right in their tracks, helps control those erratic AI hallucinations, and really minimizes your supply chain risks. Remember, we are protecting the integrity of the AI's logic, not just the data it holds. Which brings us to Section 2, securing identities and APIs. We're talking about the perimeter. Think of it this way. Imagine you're a piece of data, or a user request, trying to access an enterprise AI model. This is the journey you've got to take. First up, identity verification, proving exactly who you are with MFA. Then you pass through the API gateway and web application firewall. If you survive that, you're routed through a highly secure private network. Only then do you actually reach the AI model itself, whether that's Azure OpenAI or Amazon Bedrock. And finally, the model dictates your enterprise data access. Every single step is a heavily guarded checkpoint. So establishing that first checkpoint, it's all about identity. Over on Microsoft Azure, you're looking at tools like Intra ID and some really strict conditional access policies. Over on the AWS side, the equivalents are IAM and temporary credentials. But regardless of your cloud provider, both platforms rely heavily on multi-factor authentication to establish that crucial first perimeter. Now, once that identity is confirmed, your APIs absolutely need a bouncer. On Azure, that's API management and web application firewalls. AWS matches this right away with API Gateway, WAF, and Shield Advanced. Honestly, these tools are just non-negotiable for ensuring malicious requests never even get close to your AI models. All right, Section 3, protecting models and data. Welcome to the inner sanctum. Here is the crucial point for this layer. Your AI models literally have to be invisible to the outside world. Whether you're running Azure OpenAI or Amazon Bedrock, you've got to deploy them using private endpoints. Wrap them up tight in virtual networks on Azure or virtual private clouds on AWS. Use managed identities, enforce the absolute strictest encryption protocols, and for sure, ensure there is zero public exposure. Bottom line, if it can be seen on the public internet, it can be compromised. Down in that inner sanctum, your AI model is going to be churning through some highly sensitive enterprise data. We have to enforce least privileged access, meaning the AI only sees what it absolutely needs to see to do its job. To manage this on Azure, you'll leverage Purview and Key Vault, while AWS gives you Macie and Secrets Manager. It all boils down to classifying and encrypting your data. So even if the AI is somehow tricked, your data remains completely unreadable. But what if a bad request actually sneaks past the perimeter and makes it to the model? Well, that is exactly where these essential AI guardrails come into play. Think of them as the final internal bouncers for your system.
We're talking strict prompt filtering, input sanitization, and grounding validation to make sure the AI stays on topic and stops hallucinations dead in their tracks. Because trust me, no one wants their enterprise AI going rogue and just making things up.
Moving on to Section 4, Active Defense and Monitoring. This is your watchtower.
Look, it's a golden rule. You cannot secure what you cannot see. Continuous monitoring is absolutely mandatory here. For SIEM and threat detection, Azure relies on Microsoft Sentinel and Defender XDR, while AWS utilizes Amazon Guard Duty and Security Hub. For deep logging and telemetry, you're going to use Azure Monitor on the Microsoft side and a combo of CloudTrail, CloudWatch, and Amazon Detective on AWS. These native tools keep a vigilant 24/7 eye on your entire AI environment.
But just seeing a threat, that's not enough. You have to react. And let's face it, human reaction times are way too slow for this stuff. When an attack hits, speed is literally everything. You must implement automated incident response tactics. The second an anomaly is detected by your monitoring tools, your system should automatically block suspicious users, instantly rotate compromised secrets, immediately notify the Security Operations Center, log a ServiceNow incident, and trigger pre-built automation playbooks. The system has to lock itself down before a human even has time to click a mouse. Let's see how all this architecture plays out in a real-world enterprise scenario. Picture this. A compromised user submits highly confidential data into your internal AI chatbot. Instantly, and I mean instantly, your data loss prevention and policy evaluation engines trigger. Before the model even processes the thought, prompt inspection and those AI guardrails evaluate the massive risk. The malicious request is completely stopped in its tracks. The user's access is automatically revoked, and the SOC is immediately alerted. All those layers of architecture just worked flawlessly together. And that brings us to the core takeaway of this explainer. Zero trust isn't just some marketing buzzword. It's the absolute foundation of secure enterprise AI. By building out these layers, organizations secure their AI from day one and get to innovate confidently. You get to push the boundaries of technology while knowing your most sensitive business data is completely shielded. So, I want to leave you with this final critical thought to evaluate your own infrastructure. As you deploy these incredible generative AI tools, you have to ask yourself, are you building your AI on a foundation of blind trust or a foundation of relentless verification? The answer to that question will absolutely determine the security of your enterprise moving forward. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer, and keep building securely.